What's up, everybody? It's like the week after the Florida trip. Monday, I had initially planned to get up and go fishing this morning, but some stuff happened and I just didn't go. But what I really was going to do is I was going to do a video on how to tie your own Spanish mackerel jigs that I use. And I was going to go and do it on the pier and include that in the video after, like do it after I tied them and show you how to tie them. But I think we'll just tie the rigs and let you see that at least. And then you can refer to my old videos, or in the future I'll go into more detail about how to use them on the pier. But with that being said, let's get into it. And I'll show you everything you need and how to tie these Spanish mackerel jigs. Alright, everybody, what you see in front of us is everything you need to tie a Spanish mackerel jig. The first thing you will need is a pool noodle. I got some from the Dollar Tree and they work, but they're actually, there they are. There's a lot of air in the material, so it makes it harder to store. This one's from Dollar General, I think, and it's a lot more dense than the hooks, because the way you do it, you just put all the hooks in there. And you'll see at the end. So a pool noodle. These are actually some 3/0. They're called Aberdeen hooks. I got them off Temu, and they'll work fine. I've been using Mustad 3/0 Aberdeen hooks. I'm just out, so this is all I had to show you. There's a seller on Amazon that sells, I think it's like 100 at a time, these Mustad Aberdeen hooks. But that's it. I mean, these will work fine. No mackerel's not going to break that. They're strong, but they're not that strong. Okay, so pool needle, the 3/0 Aberdeen hooks, 40 pound monofilament works great. I was using 30 pound fluorocarbon, and because I figured it was a little bit more resistant, but this is way better. This 40 pound, and I always go with the big game. Pair of scissors for cutting your line, or pair of toenail clippers works real great. So pool noodles, 3/0 hooks, fishing line. I got these off of Amazon as well. 4x5 little Ziploc bags. They're really thick, so you don't get hooked messing around. And I use 3-ounce. These are called bank sinkers, and they say 4-ounce works better, but it's you know, you're doing that all day, jigging that rod up and down, so 3 is a lot. They say 1 ounce makes a big difference. And then I have these little screwdrivers because, yeah, you see, sorry, I'm using my phone as a screen to see what I'm doing. Inside there's a little nub of lead. I just take the screwdriver and just get that nice and clear on the inside. That way you're not cutting the line. And then all I use are these Walmart brand party straws. They work fine. And then I actually just, because it's annoying to cut them up every time you make the rig, I cut a bunch up ahead of time, and that makes it a lot easier. I like to do different colors on each hook, but I don't think it really matters. Really, it's the white that makes people use, like purple and really bright colors. They usually end up hooking sharks and stuff. But this step you don't have to do, but I do it. I'll show you. These actually found them at a gas station. They're coffee stirrers, but they're a little bit bigger, and they just so happen to fit perfectly inside of these straws. And so it's like doubled up, because these will get kind of chewed up. So that kind of, and then to me that kind of, it sits on the hook like that, just a little flash of red, kind of imitates the gills or like an injured bait fish, just because all this is, it creates a reactionary hit. They see a flash and they just bite it. And that's why it works so well. It's not like you're out there using live bait trying to trick them. These are just, that's just how they feed. They just react. And then I'll use size 3 Eagle Claw barrel swivels. They work great. Like I say, these fish usually don't get so big that they're gonna break your gear. You could use even something smaller or cheaper. That's everything you'll need. Rewind that if you need to. Also, as I use these things, they get chewed up so fast. If it gets bit in half, I'll just throw the rig away, and I'll keep the sinker and the pool noodle in its bag, and I could reuse those. You don't got to throw those away, especially not the sinker. If anything, those are expensive. But with that, we'll get into it. Start with your line, 40-pound monofilament, and then we're going to use the same knot that I showed you guys on how to tie your own surf fishing rigs. The same way to put the sinker too. You just do at the bottom, make a loop. Hope you guys can see that pretty well. It's kind of darker than I thought it would be. Hang on. Alrighty, I got a little bit of a light set up. So, starting off, take your line, and for the sinker, it's super simple. Make a loop. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. And just do a double overhand with that. Go around twice. Pull it tight. And that is not going anywhere. Then take your little tuna clippers and get your tag in. And for me, I'm gonna do about 7 loops because I use a 10-foot rod, and that's about, you know, if you use a 13-foot rod, you can do more because you get more room going up and down. But 10-foot, 7 loops is about all I'm gonna get as far as my distance that I can go up and down. And that's another thing. If you want to jig for spinners like this, I would recommend at least a 9-foot fishing pole with a long handle and a 6,000 size reel, because you got to get them out of the water pretty quick because the sharks will eat them. But anyways, so we have the loop for our sinker, and for me, my hand is pretty wide, so I'll just grab the line and pull it till that knot stops right there. And then that's about the perfect distance for me. You don't want them too close, because as you go up and down, the hooks will hook into themselves. And then you don't want them too far apart, because then you're going to have a 6-foot rig. So that's probably about 5 inches, I'd say. And then you don't want to let this move at this point right here. You don't want to let that move at all. And then it definitely takes some practice. So if you have to watch this a couple times, feel free to, pause it and reverse it however you need. But what we're gonna do is tie a dropper loop, and I have a video on the surf fishing rigs. It's the same knot, but it works perfect for this. But you don't want it too long, because you want it to stay pretty tight. You just want it as long as the hook is, just so you can barely get that hook on there. So I usually maybe about 6 inches of line. You're gonna take that, and you need longer than that. Then just make an X like that, and then just start twisting it. Do about 6 twists, 6 or 7 or 8. Don't do too many, and then pull that bottom loop up through the hole, and then you're gonna grab this part with your mouth and pull it tight. Put a little saliva on there and get it nice and tight. See, that's about perfect. I haven't done one of these since last winter. I tied a bunch last winter, so I haven't had to tie any. But somebody wanted to know how I make them. So see how that's, it went a little bit further, but that's okay. Same thing, grab the line, pull it tight till that knot hits this side of your fist, and then we're going to tie another loop. That's perfect. All right, we got 7 loops tied, so I like to give myself plenty of slack. This is where you're going to tie your swivel, so we're going to do that. And to do that part, all I use is a polymer knot. Super simple and effective. And I like to go a little bit distance because sometimes those mackerel will be attracted to sorry, my phone went off, that little bit of a black shine right there. So give her about 8 or 9 inches. And polymer knots are super simple to tie. You just double the line over, slip that through one part of your swivel, do an overhand, go under. I like to pull it tight against my finger, and then slip the swivel or hook, whatever you're tying, through that little loop. And then this little tag end will kind of fall down. I like to just pinch it off. And the important thing with the polymer knot is you want to pull the tag in. Pull it tight first. Otherwise it's gonna cause a lot of friction and it'll burn. They say you're supposed to wet all your knots, which it definitely doesn't hurt, but I think that's an older thing, because this mono line used to be a lot rougher, and tying process would cause a lot of friction and heat, and but now it's a lot smoother, so I don't think it makes that big of a difference as long as you're not like really fast. But anyway, we got 7 loops. We get that out of the way, and here got our 3/0 Aberdeen hooks. Like I say, these will work fine, yeah, but I would recommend, me personally, like if I was to sell them, I would use Mustad hooks just for the quality, and they're gold. But we're gonna skip this part because you don't need them really. So got your hook, got your straw, slip the straw on the hook, and then start with your first loop, the part where down here where the sinker is. Grab that, and I like to take this and pull it up like that, and I like to bite that part right there, not very hard, but just to get it kinked down. See how it's, I can't tell if you guys can see that or not, but it's a lot easier. It's gonna be easier to slide onto the hook. And then just like the surf fishing rigs, I like to have the back of the hook against the line. Sometimes it just doesn't work the way you want it to, but you want the hooks to face away from your main line. It just works better that way. You go through the eye of the hook, bring the loop under the hook, and pull her tight. Boom. See how the hook faces away from your main line? That's perfect. And then as it goes through the water, it just imitates a bait fish. It goes, as you go down, it floats up, and then we're gonna do that 7 more times. So grab your line, pull it up like that, give it a little bite. Grab your straw, and you can do this with coffee stirs, little red or black coffee stirs. They're a little bit tougher, I think. The party straws are a little cheaper, or if you can just steal a bunch from a gas station without them seeing. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's just straws, but maybe just talk to somebody working there. Hey, you mind if I grab a handful of these coffee stirs? I need them for fishing. Or you can get them, I think Walmart has coffee stirs too. But Go through the eye of the hook and go under and pull it tight. That's perfect. But I was actually considering selling these things, but I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. Because I'll tie 3 or 4 in a row. And after that, I just get bored. So, but I might do that and sell my surf fishing rigs as well. Let me know if y'all are interested. Maybe I will. Because I'm almost to the point on YouTube where there's 2 parts to monetization. And I'm like literally this close to the first part, where that's where like you guys can tip me if I'm on live, or I can start a shop. Like I don't know how to do it, but I could have a shop attached to my YouTube page where I could sell stuff like this or t-shirts. I also was thinking about making t-shirts. I got a new logo made. I helped make it, but Jade that I was with Florida in, Jade and Fabian, and then she's a graphic designer, and she sat down. She literally had that thing done in like 20 minutes. She's awesome at that. But I really like the new logo. I think it would look great on t-shirts. I've kind of been workshopping in my head ideas to have on it other than just the logo. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Bit in half immediately, and I don't want nobody to be like, well, it got bit in half immediately, I want my money back. I don't know. So I'll show you on these, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of pool noodle, and I actually take a pair of scissors, and you'll see why in a minute, but I got one on here anyway somewhere. Make a little hole and then slice it, make a little slice, and then you're gonna put your sinker in there, and then your line is gonna go through that slice you made, see? And then you slowly wrap it around. And when you get to your first knot, put your thumb on it, and then take your hook, kind of get it a little bit tight, pull it around, and just jam it into that pool noodle. See how it stands like that? Same thing. This is where it helps for all your hooks to be equal distance apart. Sometimes they're not. They all should be real close like that, one of those. But if it's not, it's okay. Yeah, just get them on there however you can. They don't get tangled up as long as you take them off right. Just make sure you're keeping your main line tight to the pool noodle. Getting hooked into the blanket over here. Hopefully, I'm watching on my phone over there on myself with the GoPro. Hopefully it's getting pretty good footage. But as you go along, just keep pushing your hooks down there. These are these cheaper pool noodles, and the hooks will come out. But this is a pretty good way, even if you're a fan of using sabiki rigs for catching bait off the pier or on your boat or whatever. This is a good method to keep them so you don't have to throw them away. And then, remember that hole we punched in there? You're gonna kind of pull it tight and then go around. Sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. And then jam that swivel into that hole. Just like that. And then push your sinker back up in there. And boom. Perfectly stored mackerel rig, mackerel straw rig, sabiki rig, whatever you want. Then take the bag. slip her down in the bag, and that's all there is to it. Do it about 20 times and you'll be ready to go fishing for Spanish mackerel. But I guess let me know if y'all would be interested in me selling them, or just, I mean, I don't expect to get rich from it, but I might, I very well may consider the option. But that's it. Hopefully everything, the video is as good as I hope it is, and you'll be able to start tying your own. You don't have to buy them from the pier. And see you on the next one. Hopefully next time we'll be using this. Alright folks, we'll see you later.